Welcome back. Indulge with a drink or two this holiday season. Research shows moderate alcohol consumption is not harmful for most people. In fact, it can actually be good for you. Though I did say moderate, remember. Joining us now, Dr. Devi is an associate professor at NYU School of Medicine and joins us now. You know, Christmas morning, a lot of people watching this with a mimosa in hand or some eggnog. Some good news here from the study. As long as it's in moderation, you shouldn't go to bed feeling guilty necessarily about having a couple drinks today.
That's true. I mean, so most of this research comes from red wine. So this is the idea that if you have certain chemicals in the red wine might help blood flow to your heart. So that's a good thing. There's some other studies that also show that alcohol can improve your HDL. That's the good cholesterol in your body. So there are some positive effects to alcohol, but it's really confusing for most people because we hear about
negative. It seems like
there's
a new survey out every week contradicting itself.
Exactly. So to kind of shed some light on it, if you think about it with a lot of these studies, for the most part, doctors don't actually give the patients alcohol to see what happens, right? Whereas in a drug trial, for example, you might take a large group of people and split them up so half get the drug and half don't. So in this case, what they usually do is they look at what patients are doing to begin with and what's the benefit and what's the harm. Now, the first large study that was done on this was back in the 90s. They looked at 275,000 people and they compared, people who drank 1 to 2 drinks per week to other amounts, right? So the people who drank that amount actually did a lot better than those who drank heavily, and they also did better than the folks who didn't drink at all.
That's really interesting. This stuck out to me in the survey. I want to pull this up. It says those who consumed 3 or more drinks a day still had a lower risk of death from coronary heart disease, but had a higher mortality rate overall. Help explain that one.
Yeah, so there might be some benefits to the heart from alcohol. Now, there are some risks to the heart as well, but if you think about it, let's look at alcohol. What are all the other effects of alcohol, right? So let's say it helps the heart in some ways. It can still damage the liver. If you have problems with heartburn or your pancreas, for example, it can make that worse and it can affect your nerves. So I don't want to come out totally in favor or against alcohol, but it's sort of a mixed bag. And people who have those problems, I mean, if you think about it, the doctor's going to tell them not to drink, right? Or they're going to tell them to drink, limit how much they're drinking. So those folks might not be in this type of research because they're not going to be able to drink that much to begin with.
So if you're a healthy person, you enjoy a glass of wine or two, what are the drinks that are better than the others? Obviously, red wine is always at the top of the list.
Yes, so people talk about red wine. Sometimes they group white wine in there. It seems to be beneficial, maybe not as beneficial as red wine. But then in terms of other alcohol, I mean, a lot of the studies just group all drinks together. But we know, I mean, it depends how much you drink of each thing. They can come out to equivalence. But if you drink a lot of beer, these drinks that add a lot of calories, well, then you might lose some of the benefits, right? Because if you're putting on a lot of weight, that can put other cardiac risk factors in your way.
So maybe not too many eggnogs
Exactly.
today.
Enjoy yourself, but in moderation.
Right. When they say moderation, though, what does that mean?
Well, for different people, it can mean different things. So for some folks, they say 1 to 2 drinks per week, but then in other studies, they say up to 3 drinks at a time, right? So it depends on the person. I mean, some people might be lightweights, and they feel like if they have 1 drink, that's more than enough for them. Other people, maybe those 3 drinks are okay, but we usually say if you're having more than 3 drinks in any one sitting, that would be of more concern.
That's some pretty good news on this Christmas day. I know Leland has been very excited for this segment. So Leland, I will throw it back to you, and now you can enjoy a drink or two after the show today.
Finally, some news. I just say everything in moderation, including moderation.
Right.